With his finger pointing and eyes full of rage, the furious man in front of the camera is named Zhao Keji, and the woman he's arguing violently with is none other than his wife, Liang Danlei. But what led this once-loving couple to become mortal enemies? This is a story about distrust, betrayal, and how past traumas can destroy entire families. It all began 4 years ago, when Zhao Keji, a young man born in the 1990s, met Liang Danlei through mutual friends. She was 7 years older. The two quickly fell in love and got married just 2 months later. Their early days were filled with sweetness and passion. Liang Danlei was an independent, successful woman. Zhao Keji, on the other hand, was full of energy but carried deep insecurities he tried to hide. The age difference never seemed like a problem, on the contrary. It brought a sense of stability he admired. The wedding was simple, full of promises. Friends and family said they completed each other, her maturity and experience balanced by his youth and enthusiasm. No one imagined that this very age gap would later be used as a weapon. Soon after the wedding, Liang Danlei got pregnant. The news brought immense joy. Zhao Keji, who had always dreamed of having a stable family, something he lacked growing up, saw this as a chance to finally build the home he'd always longed for. From the outside, the couple looked perfect. Their striking looks and adorable daughter made them seem like the ideal family. But reality was far different. During the first year of marriage, they rarely saw each other. Liang Danlei worked in another city. The couple lived apart, which made Zhao increasingly insecure. She rented a 2-bedroom apartment all to herself. That didn't seem right. Shouldn't a single person live in a studio? Physical distance turned into emotional distance. Zhao, already naturally insecure, began interpreting every short phone call, every work trip, as signs of something suspicious. His texts became frequent and intrusive. He wanted to know where she was, who she was with, what she was doing. Liang Danlei, trying to balance motherhood and career, felt suffocated. The constant calls, the suspicion, it all built a pressure she didn't know how to handle. Whenever he brought up their daughter, Liang avoided the topic. Not because she was hiding something, but because she could feel his questions weren't coming from a loving father, but from a man already doubting her, and that hurt deeply. As the daughter grew older, Zhao started hearing cruel gossip about the girl's appearance. Neighbors, co-workers, even distant relatives would comment, "She doesn't look like her dad at all," or, "Funny, there's nothing of him in her." These whispers grew like weeds in Zhao's mind. How can this child I raised for 4 years look less and less like me? Could it be she's not my biological daughter? The obsession started small. First, he compared childhood photos of himself to the child. Then he asked his wife vague questions about the pregnancy timeline, trying to connect dates and events. Every detail that didn't fit perfectly became proof of betrayal. He turned to the internet, reading forums, articles about paternity doubts. The more he read, the more convinced he became that his suspicion was justified. The internet didn't ease his mind. It fed his paranoia. Eventually, he suggested a paternity test. What he didn't expect was that his own parents would strongly oppose it. His mother, Zhao Peiyun, even threw him out of the house. "Son, are you insane? That little girl looks just like you when you were young. How can you doubt your own daughter?" But Zhao insisted. "First, she doesn't look like me. Second, the timeline of the pregnancy doesn't match. We barely lived together after getting married." He had created a twisted equation in his head, trying to align the conception date with the few times they'd seen each other. But he forgot one crucial weekend when she had traveled to visit him. His mother was desperate. She watched her son tear apart his own family over a baseless obsession. She showed him photos of the granddaughter, pointed out similarities. But Zhao was blinded. "Mom, you don't understand. I need certainty. I can't sleep, I can't work, I can't live with this doubt." Unable to get the test done, Zhao decided to confront his wife directly. The moment they met, the tension exploded into a full-blown argument. "Just do the damn test. Stop stalling." "I'll do it anytime you want," Liang fired back without hesitation. She seemed confident. She knew the child was his. But then she counterattacked. She said the unfaithful one wasn't her but Zhao, that he was only using the test as an excuse to push for divorce. She pulled out her phone and showed an intimate photo of Zhao with another woman, a photo he had sent her himself. She claimed he used it to emotionally manipulate her into giving up on the marriage. That revelation dropped like a bomb. Liang had discovered his betrayal months ago, but had kept silent in hopes of saving the relationship. She had found the messages by accident when she borrowed his email for a work matter while his phone was being repaired. "You want the truth? I've known everything for 6 months. I saw the messages, the photos, the hotel bookings, and still I stayed. I tried to save our family. And you accuse me of cheating?" Zhao denied it all. "She's my girlfriend. I mean, no, it's a fake, a Photoshop." "Then where's the edit? Show it to me," Liang said coldly. He stumbled, contradicted himself, unable to keep a straight story. She wasn't done. She revealed hotel receipts, multiple cities, hundreds of dollars spent, expensive gifts, love notes. "You spent more on her in a week than you did on me in an entire year," she said. "You gave her flowers, fancy dinners, jewelry. Me? You always said you were broke." Then came the final blow. Zhao revealed a secret. He himself had been adopted. 12 years ago, he found out the truth. His mother had never told him where he came from. This fed a lifelong insecurity. 3 different father figures throughout his life. No roots, no clear identity. Now, that trauma was being projected onto his daughter. "How do you expect me to trust when no one ever trusted me? I never knew who my father was. I always felt like a stranger in my own life." His mother, Zhao Peiyun, finally opened up. She and her husband couldn't have children. A desperate couple offered them their infant son. They signed a contract that said the biological parents could reclaim the child if they recovered. But the couple died in an accident 2 years later. So she raised Zhao as her own. Despite his rebellious nature, she never stopped loving him. "You caused so much trouble, fights at school, run-ins with the police, even drugs. But I never gave up on you. You were my son, blood or not." Then she said, "Your real parents didn't abandon you out of cruelty. They were starving. They gave you up so you could survive." Zhao's fantasies of being kidnapped or sold were just that, fantasies. The truth was far more tragic and human. His mother continued, "When they died, I cried like I had lost family, because I knew you'd never get to thank them for their sacrifice." But Zhao still wouldn't let go. "I need to know the truth. I have to get that test." "Then leave and don't ever come back," his mother shouted. Liang, crying, snapped, "You're heartless. Go ahead, hit me. Do it. Show everyone who you really are." The argument turned into a screaming match. His mother packed his clothes and placed them at the door. Zhao stood outside, crying, realizing the destruction he had caused. Still, he insisted on the test. Liang, exhausted and heartbroken, gave in. "Fine, let's do it. But when the results prove you're the father, I want you to look into our daughter's eyes and apologize." The 3 of them, Zhao, Liang, and the little girl, went to the testing center. The process was quick, just a few drops of blood. Then the waiting began. Days passed. Zhao couldn't sleep, not from fear of the result, but from realizing that no matter what it said, he had already lost everything. And finally, the results arrived. The daughter was his, biologically 99.9% his. Silence. No joy. No, "I told you so." Just sadness. "Are you happy now?" Liang asked. "You got your answer. Now look at what you destroyed to get it." Their daughter, still too young to understand, asked, "Daddy, why are you crying?" It hit him. He hadn't just doubted his wife. He had rejected an innocent child. He had broken a little girl's heart to satisfy his own fears. There was no going back. They filed for divorce. Liang kept custody. Zhao would only pay child support. During the settlement, Liang was generous. She didn't want war, just peace. "You can visit her on weekends, but don't bring your paranoia into her life. She deserves to grow up knowing she's loved, not doubted." Zhao begged, "I can change. I'll go to therapy. I'll be a better father." "You had 4 years to learn that. You made your choice." In the months that followed, Zhao started therapy. He began to understand how his unresolved trauma had shaped his paranoia, his need for control, and ultimately his downfall. Meanwhile, Liang moved to a smaller city with her daughter, rebuilt her life, and slowly helped her child heal from the pain of watching her parents fall apart. One night, the little girl asked, "Mom, does Daddy not love me anymore?" Liang held her close and whispered, "He does, baby. But sometimes adults get confused and make mistakes. None of this is your fault." Zhao's mother, broken-hearted, continued to visit the granddaughter. She tried to keep the family together, what was left of it. And so, this story ends where so many others do, not with betrayal, or infidelity, or even a lie, but with unhealed wounds passed down through generations. Zhao Kezi got the truth he so desperately wanted, but he lost everything in the process. The DNA test proved the child was his, but he was no longer her father. And no test can fix that. The truth is, this case reveals a dilemma more common than most people realize: the mix of personal insecurity, past trauma, and the influence of the wrong voices around us. Yes, I understand why he had doubts. The emotional distance in the marriage, the evasive behavior from his wife, his difficult childhood, all of that would make anyone suspicious. He's not a monster for feeling that way. But there's a difference between feeling something and acting on it. Taking doubt to the extreme, questioning his own daughter, ignoring the feelings of the people who truly loved him, and still trying to play the victim after cheating, that's not what being a man is about. That's using pain as an excuse to hurt others. And worse, letting other people's opinions, people who only see the surface, dictate what you do inside your own home. That's a sign of weakness. The truth is, instead of protecting his daughter, he hurt her. Instead of facing his own mistakes, he pushed the blame onto everyone else. Now I ask you, do you think he was right to act this way? Would you have done the same? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear what you think. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more real stories like this. See you in the next video.